that.
We're filming. It's all good.
It's
No,
all good.
not angry about it. Just, you know.
No, we'll leave it in. We'll leave it in.
It's all good. Welcome back to Christina's Garage Gearhead in Training. I'm at the Hoppo's Custom Suspensions Work booth at SEMA 2024. One really cool thing is that this is a family business.
Correct.
And Art is Alex's dad, and then I didn't realize you have a total of 3 sons?
2 sons and my daughter.
Okay.
But my 2 sons are here. They work for the company.
And does your daughter do it too?
No, she's a teacher.
Well, hey, that's still pretty cool. Do you mind sharing like a little bit of the backstory? Like, how did you get into doing this?
Sure. Many years ago, back in the 80s, I actually started as a mini truck guy. That was the style I was into. The mini trucks turned into mini truck lowriders, which led into the styles that we build today. Alex, my older son, and AJ were actually born into this, so it became pretty easy for them because they're already running on the shop as little kids. So going from their childhood into this, it was easy for them because they can relate and they saw it every day.
One really beautiful thing is that, like, I started doing this because my dad was super into classic cars, and then he passed away 4 years ago. And I am really drawn to legacy, family dynamics, because I think it's super important that, like, it really creates a bond. You guys are doing stuff together, and it's really, really cool to see you guys doing this. And like, where do you see you guys going? Like, because obviously you got your sons, and so where do you see it going beyond that?
I eventually want to, as I get older, step back and retire, but I would love for the boys to carry on the legacy in the same format that we pushed from day one, being that we're going to build every car like it's our own. Just be very humble and open to any questions and treat everybody like family, because we're only human and we can only do so much. And the joy that we get out of it is not the money, it's to see the customer smile ear to ear when we finish a build for them, and they're just ecstatic. Like later on when you see her here, you see her, she's just going to be smiling. The whole fact that she's here, she's made it, we helped her get here. That's to us is the best.
When did you start the business?
I started tinkering with cars back in 1984. I opened the shop in 1989. January will be 36 years for us. And the boys have been at the shop for many, many, many years. They, of course, they grew up into it. But yeah, I just wanted to keep going. The boys know what to do if I'm not here. And I hope they keep the name going and strong as we've been pushing, because it's a push every day. It's a battle. You got to stay on top of your toes, be creative, and just be innovative.
What advice would you give? Because there's so many people that don't have family ties, don't have like automotive experience, and they see cars like this and like, wow, that is so cool. They think it's untouchable, right? What advice would you give for those people?
Build within your means and push one step at a time. It'll eventually lead to this level. The more you keep wrenching on it, the more steps it progresses. Don't ever think I'll never get that far, because we all start at the bottom and it gets to this point. We're doing it, you could do it, and we just say keep pushing for it.
Thank you so much, Art. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to see what you guys do in the future. And these are pretty cool cars.
Thank you so much.
This is AJ. Alex is your older brother?
Yes.
Okay, and is your sister the youngest, or where is she in there?
She's in the middle between me and Alex.
Oh my gosh, she's like, bye guys.
Yeah.
You guys are too much.
Yeah, 2 peas in a pod, so.
That's great. So what's your favorite part about working with your dad and your brother? Like, you guys have been in the shop since you were little, so.
So favorite part is actually just continuing Pops' legacy. Pushing and growing, and actually getting the ability to learn from both of them. Alex learned from Dad and made his own, and then kind of developed a little bit more skills, and then now I get to learn from 2 just master techs that have years between them. So it's nice, it's cool, and trying to see their ways and how they do it, and also try to adapt and make new, faster, quicker ways.
When people as a family working together, like, you kind of meld together, but also, like, how do you lean into each of your own strengths, right? Because you each have different things that you bring to the table. How do you guys manage that? Because I'm assuming you guys probably bump heads at some point, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, more often than so. But yeah, we definitely, if we have something, we try to figure it out on our own. If we get stumped, we go ask for help, and then if me and Alex can't figure it out, we go ask Pops, and but we all try to figure it out on our own first before asking for help, because there's always a solution, there's always a way to figure it out, and there's multiple ways to do it rather than just one. So got to think outside the box a little bit.
do you have like a favorite, not aspect of what you do, but like, everybody has things that they're a little bit better at or things that they're a little bit more interested in within, that bubble? Are there certain things that your favorite thing to do?
I mean, I'm all rounded, but I'm always trying to learn, especially. But my favorite so far has been being able to understand and be quicker at doing like press brake programming.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
So press brake, basically it's a press brake. So a piece of flat metal, and we put the degrees and calculations in to bend it to whatever we need to make. So like this lip, for instance, trying to get that bend at a perfect 90. I might overcorrect it, I might undercorrect it. I mean, I get scrap piles, but we fine tune it and dial it in, and I'm getting pretty good at it. So that's nice.
And so it's put into like a machine with a computer and
yeah,
all that?
so it's basically two jaws that come down together. There's a computer screen off to the right, and I have to manually enter what I want, how long the bend's gonna be, what degree I want, and then also it's an X and Y axis, so you gotta try to figure out, so I gotta go back to high school and remember geometry, so,
You're actually using that.
I'm actually using it, so math is important later on in life.
Well, a lot of your stuff is custom, right? Like,
Yes.
Do you repeat like the same thing? It seems like there's always probably a little bit of it.
So we offer custom, but we also do offer everyday products that we just mass produce that are available on our website. So a lot of it's all repetition, but when we go to something like this is, custom. Then we just take it as far as the customer wants or as far as they allow us. So it's always up to the customer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, AJ.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And you guys are in Southern California?
Yeah, Southern California, basically based out of Riverside, California, and yeah.
Well, if you guys think that maybe they'd be okay with me popping into their shop, it'd be kind of cool to...
If you're ever in town, stop by. We'll definitely give you a tour. We'll show you how everything gets made and, get you a little bit more in-depth about our industry that we do.
If you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments. That'd
Make
be
sure
pretty
to
cool.
like and subscribe.
And them too. This is Georgia, and this is her truck.
Yes, this is my 1989 Toyota pickup. We're here at SEMA 2024, and we're just excited to be here.
What inspired you to do this? Is this like your first truck? Like what?
Okay, so I love Toyotas. Like I love Toyotas, and I come from lowriding. My heart's always been in lowriding. I have an 87 Cutlass, and the internet has seen, and I've done, it's been like the hero car for the last, I don't know, 12 or 13 years. But I was gonna build a 59 Impala and then decided to sell them when 2020 hit. And a few months later, this popped up on Craigslist. And I've always loved Toyota trucks. That's kind of been the vibe. I like the little mini trucks. I've always wanted to build a mini truck. I always said I was going to. And this thing popped up. It was someone's past project that was in shambles. It came off the road in '92. And I was like, well, I'll go take a look at it, And so from there, I dragged the truck home with me thinking, I'm just gonna slap it together and roll it, have a good time, do some burnouts, learn how to do some drive it dumb and have a good time. And then things quickly spiraled out of control when I pulled the body off the frame and threw the entire frame out that originally came with the truck.
Ah.
So this is a completely one-off custom chassis. The front half of it is built to Toyota spec, and then the rear half of it obviously is not to Toyota spec. It is a little bit one-off with its custom cantilever hydraulic suspension. But I ended up moving to the US and left my project truck in storage and decided I'll be back for you. Like I told it I would be back for it, and that I did in September of 2023. Went back up, picked it up, drug it back down to California with me, and it's been gung-ho ever since. So it has a little bit of something for everyone to love or a little bit of something for everyone to hate. lowrider inspired and a little bit of like drift race car inspired with its turbo and its fast type element, and then a bit 90s mini truck where it's done with the body drop and all the custom metal work and the old school wheels and things like that. But then I paid homage to my 59 Impala that I said goodbye to, which I'm not sure if I would want to build. Maybe I will one day. And I did a 59 Impala dash with a 59 Impala inspired interior as well. So there's all sorts of different elements and ideas that have kind of come into this truck to make it what it is today. But that's a little bit about the history of it and how it is and why it is how it is.
And I love, it really is an example of SEMA and an example of the passion that people have for cars. That you can, it can be a certain vehicle.
Yeah.
Every single one in the aftermarket industry is all different, and you're like, people that like this or that. It's what you like.
Yes, and you know what? Automotive has no rules. I think that we have a hard time, especially I've noticed in recent years, people are very like, oh, if you're building it, it needs to be this way or it needs to be that way. If you're building a lowrider, it has to have X, Y, Z, or building a drift car, this, that's this. But you don't have to have rules to your build, and I wanted to kind of like use this as an example of that, where you can do and mix genres and styles, and you don't necessarily have to have the normal platform for your build either, because typically for a lowrider you're going to see an Impala or you're going to see a G body, and that's a very common car to build for that. But for me, it was like, okay, well, I already have my Cutlass, like everyone expected me to go one certain direction and continue with like lowriding in one direction, but I love automotive in like all sorts of ways. Like I love, like I think like if you're into the car culture, like you can appreciate everything. So just like taking a little bit of everything I love from all the different styles of builds and throwing it into one thing for me that I love is super cool. And then, you know what, if you love it, you're gonna put your best work into it. Your passion's going to show on it, and then at the end of the day, if somebody else doesn't like it, it's totally okay, because you built it for you and you love it. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like someone could come to me and be like, "I hate this thing," and I'd be like, "That's great, because I love it. Like I really do." You know? And but to see people come to the show and like specifically come to see it and like they like it, it's been pretty cool. It's been really, really cool.
And the attention to detail. Like I was talking to Moira not long ago, we're like staring at it, and the things that I'm very new to automotive, so I'm looking through a newbie lens, and I look at it, I'm like, that looks really cool. I don't know what that is, and that's actually part of the process of asking, like, oh, what is this, and how do you put this together? And I want to ask you, what kind of encouragement would you give to someone else that's like looking at this and is going, wow, I really want to do that, and then maybe they haven't done anything automotive, maybe they're new, maybe they have like a smaller budget. Like what kind of encouragement would you give to those people who are having that like mental block of feeling like, oh, I want
to, but I can't do it? You know what? Ask questions. This industry is more inclusive than you'd ever think. Like it gives you a place to fit in when you can't fit in anywhere else, and the people here are so willing to share knowledge if you're just willing to learn. And that's the thing. You don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no stupid questions. A lot of people here are willing to share their knowledge and love to talk about their builds. And so if you can go in there and just approach it with an open mind and not be afraid to accept that, like, you don't know everything, so you just go and learn. It's a learning experience. And even with this truck, I learned so much. Like coming from lowriding where you do paint and you do chrome and you do hydraulics and whatnot, but a lot of times you don't do performance products like for your engine and stuff like that. I learned so much about engines and how they work and everything like that when it came to this build. So you're always learning, we're always learning, even the greatest builders are always learning, so don't be afraid to go out there and learn too. Nobody knows everything, and you can only improve and get better over time. You just have to like trust your gut and your ideas, and then go from there. It's essentially like I said, just asking the questions.
You don't get here overnight. Our society is filled with that now, especially on Instagram, right? You see before and after. Like like that. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, you don't
Yeah.
see the fact
Yes.
that like this wasn't working with this, and then we
Yes.
had to go back to the drawing board to make
Exactly.
this work. And
Exactly.
you're learning because you're hands-on, and like I'm learning because I'm working on all these different things and going, who designed this? I don't
Yes.
understand why this is under here, and how do
Exactly,
man
exactly.
hands fit in that tiny hole? Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's
and
a
not
whole thing.
like not to give up after your first try. Like with this truck, I can't even tell you how many times we went backwards and forwards just to get the right fitment, because everything is so custom on it that it was like trial and error to make certain things work together. And then just you know, like it just takes time. It just takes time. A lot of times, like you said, on Instagram, you see immediate results. You watch a show on TV, and in one episode, the vehicle is finished. And it doesn't work like that in real life. Like when you're crunching for SEMA, things start coming together quite quickly.
You're
But
motivated.
You're motivated, and the team's on it, and you're trying your best to make it happen. But for the most part, like people don't see like the beginning process of it. Like they don't follow along. So I noticed, especially with my own social media, before this thing had color on it, like when it was raw metal and whatnot, people didn't really pay much mind to it. And then when it started getting color on it and chrome on it, people were like, wow, the build's coming together so fast. I was like, wait, like, did you see all this other stuff that happened before we got to this part? Like there's so many steps that have to happen to make something happen. And by all means, you don't have to do something this extreme, because this is a pretty extreme.
Unless you really want to.
This is I mean, unless you really want to. I mean, by all means, like we would love to see it. But yeah, like nothing happens overnight. No good thing happens immediate, and it just takes time. Like I got this truck in 2020, and there was so much, like when I still had it in Canada, there was so much that was done to it, but it was such a slow process, and the resources weren't as readily available for it up there as they are down in the US. And so after moving to the US, it was a lot easier to get the ball rolling and get things moving quicker, and we had a goal and set deadlines for ourselves and things like that. But when you're just building for yourself and the love of it, like it just one piece at a time, you know? Every puzzle it only gets done in one piece at a time, you know? So.
And if you want to follow her stuff, I'm going to put all of your information in the caption so people can give you a follow.
We have a whole build series of the truck on YouTube, so if you want to follow along, I believe episode 26 came out actually yesterday. And so, I mean, you'll see the build all the way through until it goes to SEMA. And so we still have episodes coming out even after we're already here, because you know how it lines up time. The content was a couple weeks behind editing, and things can't happen always in real time. But yeah, follow along with the build series. It's called Georgia's Mini Truck Series, and check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Alex, it's crazy. It's been an entire year since we've seen each other in person. Like now that we follow each other on social media, it doesn't feel like it's been an entire year.
I know, right?
So what have you been up to? Like obviously you've been working really hard. Has there been any changes or things that you are doing new or different than before?
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing our same thing. We're still building cool cars. We're still pushing, but we did hit a few achievements for ourselves. You know, finally we're like, all right, we did it. Also, I mean, bringing these vehicles here is a huge accomplishment, just in general. But yeah, we've got some new machinery at the shop, so that's a big goal for us, for me at least. That's like Christmas and whenever we got it, you know.
Well, it gives you more ability to do things or do them better. It helps a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's stuff that we dream about, like, oh, one day we'll have that machine. When we walk past it, you know, we're like, hey. But we finally got it after like 2 years, so that was probably one of our bigger accomplishments. Other than that, we just finished a build for Monster Energy, which that was pretty exciting. You know, I know, thank you. You know, growing up, going to like Supercross and seeing all the different builds and cars and stuff, you're like, dang, that's cool. Like, how do these guys get there, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we did it. You know, we did a build with Low Air Magazine, Monster Energy, S&K, Curry, House of Colors, Luxor Wire Wheels. All those guys are all involved into it. So very proud of that. We traveled all across the U.S. this year too, and I survived.
With a couple marbles left, hopefully.
Yes, yeah. So we traveled. We did 10 shows across the U.S. this year.
Wow.
All the way from like Portland, Oregon to Chicago to Tampa. So like we went all across the U.S. traveling for lowrider shows, and I've always wanted to do that, and we did it. I don't know if I want to do it again, but it was fun. You know, we knocked it off. We checked it off.
definitely, we actually did sign for next year, so I'm joking around when I say I don't know if I want to do it. We were actually doing it again.
You just mentioned that you said that about something like this. You're like, no, and you're like,
yeah, it's one of those weird sicknesses, you know? It's like once you do it and you feel that like accomplishment, you just want to do it again, you know? Like, oh, it feels good. Seeing everyone enjoy the builds.
Yeah.
You've seen the crowds around all of them. Like, I could sit back and that's my trophy, my enjoyment. Seeing everyone just smile and ooh and all. I'm like, dang.
well, this booth has been full, and I'm trying to catch him. Like, this is abnormal. Like, and it came super early because, like, and that's good.
Yes.
I'm not upset about that. It's really amazing to see. I love watching my friends win, and also, like I was saying, the overarching like idea is you're saying you're hitting all these accomplishments. They've been working so hard, and it's taken a long time for them to get. You're like, oh, Monster Energy. It's taking you how many years to get there, and hard work, blood, sweat, tears, hours into the night, and it takes a lot of hard work. If you're seeing these beautiful cars and you're going, wow, I want that, it requires hard work and determination and passion.
Correct.
And it lights your guys' heart on fire.
It does. It's massive drive. It's not easy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not one of these motivational books like, yes, you know, for $15.99 a month, you know, you could do it too. No, it's hard. Like, you literally got to work. You got to put everything into it. And honestly, you literally, if you want it, you got to just work for it. Like, that's the biggest thing. That's why I literally have that tattooed on my hand every day where I grab a wrench. I'm like, I want it. Just freaking work for it, man. Just work harder. If you want it, work faster. You want it, work longer. Just work for it, you know? So you can do it. Anyone can do it. It's just you got to put in the time and effort, you know?
And it's not like people are like, oh, I want to get out of the 9 to 5, and they see you working in a shop, and you're like, oh, you get to make your own hours. And my husband used to say it the other day, like, oh, wow, like you don't work as, I'm like, you don't understand.
No,
like, literally, it's more hours. It's work.
Yeah.
Because it lights your heart on fire and you have passion about it,
Yes.
the sense of time is a little bit different. Like, you're working hard, you're tired. Like, this is the last day of SEMA. Like, I am drained physically, emotionally, mentally.
Oh, yeah. I'm hurting.
Also, though, my heart is on fire. I'm so pumped and recharged in like the best way possible because I love it. You love it. We love all this stuff. Like you said, you're talking to all of these customers, and like, as I said, this booth is packed most of the time.
It is.
Because people appreciate what you guys are doing.
And I think what it is too is the hard work and dedication, it shows in the builds. You know, you see there's a lot of beautiful builds out here, but you could walk up and you could be like, you know, that guy probably only put 2-3 weeks worth of work into it. Not bad, but then you see other builds that are like dang, that's a 2-3 year build. You know, so you see the differences in the build quality when you put your heart into it and you just push as hard as you can. You know, you physically got to push, and physically and mentally got to push hard.
I talked to your dad about like where he envisions to go, and he's mentioning like, you know, as he mentioned, you know.
I told you guys the booth's been busy, so we're making this work right here as we go. Sorry about that.
We're filming. It's all good.
It's all good.
Not angry about it. Just, you know.
No, we'll leave it in. We'll leave it in.
It's all good. So your dad was talking about wanting to be able to retire at some point, and you know, like
he always says that. He's not gonna. Don't let him fool you. It's his baby.
So where do you envision, like, what aspirations do you have with the business? Like, because when you do this kind of thing, and you're a high achiever, it's not you hit this point and you're done, right?
No,
you're like, I need to do
not.
this project, and you want to do something better, you want to improve, you want to learn more, and that's why I think that this culture I vibe with so much, because I'm like wired that way as well.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
There's a lot of boxes that we haven't checked off yet. It's almost like we just started the business. That's how much we want to go. You know, so at this point, there is an expansion we want to do within the next 5 years that is very possible at this point. There's also some more machinery that I just went to go look at yesterday that we want to do and purchase. And that's all stuff that is possible in the near future. And like within a few months, that's how, you know, much we can do. But in the next few years, there's another expansion that we want to do to our next chapter in the Hoppo's, almost an expansion of the business.
So like doing a new things or expanding in terms of like size? Because you don't have to give me specifics if you...
Yeah, I don't want to say specifics on
Yeah.
it because it's right now it is just hopes and dreams.
It all starts there though.
It does. It all starts there. And it would be a new branch of Hoppo's. So it would still be branded under Hoppo's, but it would be something just slightly different of what we're doing now. You know, I don't want to say too much, but
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah. But that's probably our next, within the next 5 years or 10 years, 5 to 10 year gap. That's probably something that could happen. Those are our long-term, long-term goals.
Yeah.
As far as like monthly goals, weekly goals, survive SEMA, get back home, see the wife, the kid, and yeah.
Well, it's hard being away from the family. Like, I don't have kids, so
Yes.
it makes it a little bit easier, and I like being by myself
Yeah.
sometimes. So like this, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. And there's a lot of people here who are parents, and I don't think people see that side of it either.
No.
Like the blood, sweat, and tears. Like you're taking time away from other aspects in your life,
Yeah.
not because you're neglecting it, you're hyper focusing and investing so that you can create something bigger, because this is a family business,
Yeah.
right? You're creating something for your family to be able to support them and hopefully carry on the legacy,
Yes.
moving forward.
And we always talk, everyone talks about like work-life balance, like there's no perfect work-life balance. We've been trying to work on this forever, and it's just what works for you, what works for your family, what works for your wife or your significant other. Biggest thing for me is luckily my wife supports, and she understands that I'm normally there. We'll sit down and have dinner every single night, 5:30, 6 o'clock. But when it comes to the month before SEMA,
She gets it.
she knows that I'm probably going to be sleeping in my truck because I didn't make it home because of her, an hour of sleep. So she knows that, she understands it. But in the end of the day, like, as soon as it's over, she knows like I'm coming home, I'm there, and we got 9-10 months before SEMA crunch again. So she understands it. So that's the biggest thing.
I'm really, really happy for you. And
Thank you.
I was talking to AJ about maybe planning to come out to do a shop tour at some point.
I don't know what's taking you so long.
I
Yes.
know, it's like I'm working on traveling more, and they're just in Southern California.
Yeah.
I'm in Northern California. It's not really
Not
that
far, 'cause
far.
you're- yeah.
I'm in
Yeah.
Sacramento area, yeah.
Okay.
So it's just taking the time
actually-
to. Well, he said
actually-
you guys are coming out in like March.
Yes, so we just, there's a show in March now. So what we'll do is I'll get with you on that. I'll get you a ticket. So at least you can experience the lowrider side of it. So
I haven't done any.
This will be like a strictly full lowrider show.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, so I'll get you a ticket. I'll
Yep.
get with you on social media.
That's exciting. Yeah, and if you guys are interested in that, is that on your guys' page? Will it be on your page?
Yeah, so our tour will be, the tour that we're doing will be on our page on all social media and website, but it'll also be on lowriderexperience.com.
Okay.
That's where the full tour, the whole US is going to be at this year. So there's 10 shows, I believe, this year, or 10 or 9, something like that.
That's a lot of shit. And when you think
It's a
about
lot.
that, it's like almost one a month. And
But that's only lowrider, so we're still doing other ones too. So we're actually, I think we have 14 total overall.
dude,
Yeah, it's rough.
Crunching.
It's rough, but
you're putting
this
in the
is-
work.
But this is what we want. We
Yeah.
want more. We want to keep growing, and keep pushing. So.
If you guys want to follow them, I'm going to put all of your information down below. And thank you guys so much for following. Subscribe to my channel if you want to maybe, see future
Yes.
collaborations. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.